guys, it's TRIZE here, and what you're seeing right now is a K-car body. To be specific, I'm going to be building this car that's similar to other Japanese K-cars in that part of the world. I've last made one back in January of adding a massive turbo to one. With this video, I'll build the car as so in automation and record the engine sound using AngeTheGreat Engine Sim for BeamNG. So let's start off with the panel material of this here K-van. We'll start off like the usual. Pretty much the usual, like somewhat on the cheap side, but not like hardcore cheap. So let's do treated steel for the panel material with a monocoque, maybe galvanized steel. With the engine placement, it'll be a front transverse engine placement, hence we're going to be putting a 660cc engine, which I've already made. And the front suspension, we'll just do pretty much independent, so a McPherson's front suspension, and the rear will probably do a torsion beam suspension. So for the engine, as I select right here the Daihatsu K series, specifically the KF-VE engine, if I go back to it and just explain to you this. So it's an inline 3 made out of aluminum with the size set for the bore at 63mm and the stroke at a 70.4mm to get the engine size to 658 cubic centimeters, which is in line to the Japanese K engine car laws, with a dual overhead cam 4-valve also made out of aluminum. For the crank conrods and pistons, I believe this is what they use for this particular engine. So for the crankshaft, we're going to be using some forged steel crankshaft with the conrod set to a lightweight forge and the piston set to a regular forge with no such thing as a balancing mass implemented to this particular engine because, well, as you can see with the stress graph right here, it's not really that necessary with an RPM of 7,700 RPM. Wait, what the hell? Is it me or is this a bug in the game? So this is the RPM limit. So we got a valve, who even cares? So this is the RPM limit. So here's 8,400 RPM. Right now, this should fail. So what? Kind of weird with this new update of the game, but they should patch this sooner or later. So for the bottom end, or excuse me, top end of this engine, so we got the compression set to an 11.3 to 1 ratio, which is used on these particular vehicles for this engine. It can go up to an 11.5, but I do have it set to an 11.3. And the cam profile is set to a fairly sporty setting of a 63, and the springs and lifters soften this up a bit to a 35. And we're going to be using VVT for all cams because this engine uses VVT in real life. Engine RPM limit, 7,700 RPM. For the fuel system, we're using a multi-point electronic fuel injector with a single throttle setup with a standard mid-intake with the manifold size set to a 72, and we're running on some unleaded regular fuel with the fuel mapping set just one click down to a 49, and the octane margin, I set this to a -5 because I try to get sources on like what type of fuel octane they use in real life for this engine, but I do set it to an 86 is because if I do it at a 0 for the octane margin, as you see here, the game will complain that we got some engine performance loss because of some significantly retarded timing and requires less compression or a high octane fuel. So we're on 86, if I jump it up to a 90, it doesn't complain anymore, but we're at a 46.4. If I go back to the regular and keep that in mind, now we're at a 46.8. So we're pretty much in this margin of the horsepower rating for these particular engines with this type of compression rating of an 11.3. So for the headers, we're using some cast bid headers with the header size set to a 54, and we're using a single exhaust with the exhaust diameter size set to a 31.8mm, which equals to 1.25 inches. And for the cat converters, we're using a 3-way cat and a double reverse flow mufflers for the first and second ones. And let's give you here what this new engine sound will sound like with this version of the game right now. Finally, the inline 3 engines don't sound as gritty as they were back in the day. For the drive type, since we're using some torsion beam rear suspension in the back, our only option is a transverse front wheel drive setup because we'd see here transverse all-wheel drive because, well, it doesn't work whatsoever. And we'll use a manual 5-speed with the top speed set, let's see, 95 miles an hour. Let's just drop it to 100, exactly 100 miles an hour. For the tires, like the usual, radial tread type with some hard long life tires with the front and rear tire width set. Keep it at a 155. I think this is pretty much legitimate. Do some 13-inch rims, do alloy rim material because we want to keep it lightweight but affordable to a certain extent. So for the brakes, maybe solid disc 1 piston of a 220 in the front and a single shoe in the back almost maxes out to a 230 in the back. Might as well come back to the brakes later on because I haven't built a K car in quite a while. So for the under tray, maybe a none setting with the brake airflow, do a 13. And for the interior of this here vehicle, let's do a standard interior with a standard CD player. For the power steering, I don't think it's really necessary for this light of a vehicle, so do none with ABS brakes only and standard issue 2000 safety standards. And lastly, for the suspension, let's use some progressive springs with gas mount tube dampers and passive sway bars like the usual with a normal preset. Let's see where we're at. A little bit on the understeering side, but not really. Does it say so? The rear brake force is high, bottoming out. Oh no, stand by. So let's go to the brakes here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Are we good? A little bit of sportiness fade, so drop this all the way down. That's sort of more like it, but jump it up a little bit. Good. Alright, so for the final adjustments for this here vehicle, so apparently using some partial aluminum panel material like this option over the treated steel is in fact not only just lightweight in general, but also cheaper by $500 if I go to here. The final cost of this vehicle will be marketed as $16,200, but if I go way back and choose the treated steel option, well, of course it'll be heavier on good stuff, but we do get the final cost of $500 more of $16,700. So right now, we're gonna get ready to design this here K-van. I'll design it as is, and after we do so, I'll jump on over to the AngeTheGreat Engine Simulator with this exact engine, the KF-VE, get a recording of those sounds, and jump on over to BeamNG.drive. So right now, get a time-lapse of this here design, right now. So for the design of this little car, since it's been a while since I've made a K-car build, I've done some searching online to give me an idea on how to get started. For the front, it took me some time to come up with something, so I decided to loosely replicate a 5th gen Suzuki EVRY microvan with the headlights and main grille. This grille piece isn't functional due to the excessive cooling it would apply in real life, but since this is a video game, well, let's just assume that it would happen in real life. That's where the bottom functioning grille piece comes into play. For the sides, I experimented with some custom body molding after placing the gas door on the bottom. What's interesting is that this is common for vehicles like this for having gas doors down there. So again, for the body molding, I used a modded door seam kit and created body insets along the entire side and rear of the van. That leads me to the design of the rear. As I said, I placed the same fixture in the back hatch, including the rear plate inset fixture, rear hatch handle, badge logo, and bottom taillights. Yeah, a lot of K cars had lights on the bumper like this compared to a conventional car. And for the general styling of the rear, as you can kind of see, I was inspired by the Subaru Sandbar van. So after getting everything done with this build, here's what it came out. This is the 2005 Veil Lazuli Micro Van. It's your average, fairly cheap micro van, only sold in Japan. Coming in at $16,200, it's ecological, lightweight, and of course, it complies with the strict Japanese K-car laws to make it a legal K-car. Alright, so I got the van here all set and done in terms of the design. Took me about an hour and a half to build this, but I'm pretty much satisfied with the results that I got right here. Before we export this van to BeamNG.drive, despite our only 4 problems that we got right here, such as the low capacity issues, the car's bottoming out, high roll angle, and a lack of power steering, who even cares about that? So let's jump into the engine simulator to record the engine and then get this on over to BeamNG.drive. So here I am loaded into AngeTheGreat's Engine Simulator. This is the version 0.1.10, something like that, this version of the simulator program. So what I got loaded is I downloaded this here exact engine of the Toyota Hijet KF-VE engine, and according to automation, the lowest RPM that we got in the graph was 1600 RPM, and the red line was 7700 RPM. So what I'm going to do is start the engine up as so let's turn on the ignition by hitting the A key, and then hold the S button to start up the engine. But you need throttle first for this particular engine, so rev it up as so, engine has started, so With this engine, I haven't tuned around with the coding and everything, is that it hovers at around 2100 RPM while it's idling. So if I go to the dyno options, I hit D, but first of all, hit D and then accelerate. And then hit H. Hold on. Alright, so hit H to hold the engine, so we're at 1600 RPM, the lowest RPM that we got in automation. So right now, since it's recording, because unfortunately of Audacity to record the engine, I can't do it because currently I'm recording the commentary as is in that program. So how this process will go is currently that the engine is on its offload, so in BeamNG with the exported engine sounds is you got an offload and an onload sound for each engine note RPM, like every so 100 RPM to get an accurate sound of the engine note. So what we're going to do is, currently it's on the offload, so I'm going to get a sound of this guy, and then hit the throttle button to get the onload. So let's do that for a little bit, shut it down, and then increase the engine RPM by hitting the H button again to disable the hold, and increase it to 2000 RPM, so 2005, close enough. So here's the offload, now onload. So this is pretty much a tedious process that I'll pretty much skip over because it's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes to do this process here. From getting the engine recording by recording every 500 RPM of getting a semi-accurate engine sound for this particular engine. So get it to 2500. A little tedious. Alright, final part. 2500 RPM. Here's the offload. Onload. And let's continue. Alright, so here we go. Here's the engine RPM, about 7700 RPM. Here's the offload. And here is the onload. So what's kind of interesting with the engine I downloaded, the engine max RPM was like something stupid like 9,000 RPM. So real briefly, still revving, 9,500 RPM. God damn, man. Is this the max RPM in real life or what? Let me know down below because I'm not familiar with this type of engine in real life because there's a lack of specs and all that good stuff. Alright, disable the hold, dyno, and the ignition, so it'll take quite a while for me to do this. So I'm going to take all the engine notes that I've recorded and then do some magic and Audacity and all that good stuff and file editing, and we'll jump on over to BeamNG.drive. So let's do all the good stuff and take you there right about now. So here we are with the map of West Coast, USA with this here K-van, and looking at this- wait a second. What happened to the back end of this here vehicle? I mean, look at the back end. Was this like this in automation or what? I mean, we got a missing, like, transparent piece that we got going here with the bumper. I don't think it was like this in automation. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. I don't want to go through the process again of re-exporting this car and putting all the files back in, all that good stuff. So, is the vehicle itself, are we okay? Just the back end? Just the back end only, so whatever. So anyways, ignoring the back hatch, it's a little bit broken up in here. We'll start off with the basic performance test with this custom engine sound, which I'll show you throughout this here test that I'm going to be doing here. We'll start things off with the 0 to 62 acceleration test, followed by the 62 to 0 brake test, and lastly, the top speed run with this here vehicle. So let's start off with the 0 to 62 run, starting now. Accelerate, and here's the engine sound right now. So second gear, it's a little bit on the loud side. Like the first time when I exported this vehicle and tried to drive this at BeamNG.drive, I mean, it was ear rape. Like, take a listen. About 4 decibels away from getting our max peak right there. So 0 to 62 in 20.01 seconds, so 1,077.44 feet. Damn, that's like a long... that's a long time to get to a 0 to 62, but this is like a 46 horsepower inline 3 of this van weighing about a freaking ton, like 1,955 pounds, something like that. So, get to 62. Alright, 62, brake. 62 to 0 in 2.96 seconds of 118.64 feet. Handshake at 10.064. So with the braking time and distance-wise for a lightweight, small vehicle like this, I mean, it's a little bit on the underwhelming side in terms of like the braking distance, but more or less braking time, but braking distance seems aight, but braking time on the okay side of things. So for a top speed run or in effect, went past those toll booths and I did a launch, like a 5,000 RPM launch, let's see our new 0 to 62. Much better, a 17.90 seconds of 1,046.65 feet. Not too bad. We're in 5th gear right now, going at like above highway speeds like you see in like Texas or whatever, 80 miles an hour. That's the carpooling you see right there. More or less a sign to the carpooling. At the speed limit of 70 miles an hour. We're going 13 miles over the speed limit right now in terms of airspeed. So I've been driving this here van for quite a while, for about maybe a minute or so at this here highway, so exiting the tunnel, so we're still struggling 4th and 5th gear, haven't reached top speed, so let's do a crash right here. Right at the telephone pole. Not necessarily a telephone pole, but a street light, so main engine is broken, about a 75 mile an hour head-on collision into this here pole, so let's get the vehicle out of here. Or are we like embedded? If you F7... Oh, damn. So here is the vehicle as so. If I can get this up right. So here it is as so. The engine is almost completely detached up in here, hanging by a couple of nodes or something. And the front is completely bent inwards. It is partial aluminum panel material and a steel chassis. And sharp-ass back end for me trying to pull that bad boy as so. So the final look at the destruction of the vehicle, well, it's destroyed. So right now, let's do a time trial run right now. So here we are at the bottom map of Garfield Heights, and what happened to the road? I tested this out earlier, and it worked just as fine. I cleared my cache and all that good stuff, so interesting. So what I got here is a modded time trial that I got loaded here. It's called, I think, School Circuit, and I'm going to be doing 2 laps with this here vehicle by just driving around the streets here, to the school, and all that good stuff. So let's get ready to start this here time trial that's semi-broken in terms of the conditions of the road here in 3, 2, 1, launch it, 4,000. But hey, at least with the transparent, like, wet-looking road up in here, we're still in the map as so. We're not, like, phasing through the ground, falling down like a few thousand feet or something stupid like that. I swear, 0 to 62. Just got it in 17 point... Oh yeah, we have ABS brakes. In 17.36 seconds of not even 1,000 feet, 985.60 feet. That's impressive. I swear, what's the handling like? I'm on a controller, even though I do have a wheel set up and everything, but I don't use the wheel that much for, like, especially vehicles driving like this. I don't use a wheel for, like, slow speed vehicles. Normally, if I got, like, race cars, sports cars, or something that needs, like, all my attention to the track to get, like, a good lap time and all that good stuff. With this here video, not that much. I can just use this here PS4 controller, and that'll be good enough for driving this type of vehicle. But yeah, you've seen right there, it handled like a champ despite the tire size set to 155s on the front and back. Let's see here. Oh no, two-wheeling! Oh no. Oh no, put the high rollover risk sign inside the van. And we're on our 4 wheels, so let's shake it off and get back on track. Well, kids, in the future, put some stiff-ass roll bars or ignore the bottoming out part in automation and just drop the bad boy. How about a right-hander? Will this roll over? Let's see. Roll it over. Ooh, we kind of see that we went a little bit of a two-wheeling right there. Despite the rollover and all those gaffes, we got the first lap time of a 2 minutes 11 seconds, 499 milliseconds. Not too bad. Without the rollover, it'll probably been like a 150 or something like that, maybe a 155. Alrighty, Mr. Van, don't fail me twice. Damn, that was close. I almost did it again. I almost rolled over, but the curb and the sidewalk about saved my life. I thought the curb would, like, shear the tires off or something like that, or do some, like, damage to the vehicle, but no, it didn't. I'm surprised. And coming to the final stretch, we get a time of 1 minute 43 seconds, 239 milliseconds. God damn, the split time was like 28 seconds. Wow! Despite that good lap time, we get the total lap time, this entire course, of a 3 minutes 54 seconds, 738 milliseconds. Just under 4 minutes. That's pretty good for this type of vehicle. So, free roam, let's get on going. Crash into something right now. Hello, Mr. Wall. Let's slow it down. Technically, this is not a wall per se. Let's just say it is. So, 4 times, go. Damn! Just the sound of that collision. So, the engine still runs. Are you kidding me, man? What if I take a look and just go? So, there's the headers right there. There's the heads. Oh, come on, man. This is so stupid. You got a 75-mile-an-hour crash like this, and we're kind of steering. Ooh, when we come to a dead on our side, dead stop at hitting the curb, and we're on our side like it's Cars with the tractor tipping, sponsored by Mater. Alrighty, let's ignore that. So for the final part of the video, let's jump ourselves down to the good old map of Leap of Death to see if this car could tumble down the gas prices. all thanks to the current economy and the square root of 2,116 President of the United States. So take it to the top of the map right now. Alright, here we go, this pimped out dirt path. Let's accelerate and get a final listing of this vehicle, so let's just list it as so. Of a speed of 42 miles an hour by hitting that ramp back there, so in terms of like the engine sound, it sounds somewhat similar to what we got in automation, but a tad bit different compared to the AngeTheGreat Engine Sim. So we're upside down on our roof. This is gonna be pretty brutal. So let's do a 16 times slow-mo. Oh, maybe a little bit slower. So let's do times. Let's do 50 times slow-mo. Alright, 50 times slow-mo for the first time. Ooh, my goodness. Here goes the frickin' roof impact down to the earth as so. Here's the record camera again. Does it still run? Yes, it does. So that's 60 times. Full time. Let's full time it all the way because, well, we took the first brutal hit. We're facing ourselves. I swear to God. Let's slow it down again. Alright, 2 times. Base drop. Let's just full time it away. Screw it. So manage it broken. Screw it. Let's just full time it all the way. I don't care how hard these next impacts are. Let's just full time it away. Like that. I don't care. This one, I still don't care. Let's just aim ourselves down to this little lake right here. This little pond. Is this the final impact? Before we get in? Splash. Barely got it in there. We just splashed down before hitting the side of that cliff face that leads you to the very, very tip top of the pond. So that was close. Alright, so I hastily used a node grabber and dragged this bad boy to some flat land to look at this here aftermath destruction of the vehicle. So final look before ending things off. So we got the sheer sharp ass polygon for B using the node grabber to pretty much just shank ourselves as so. Just we're dead. And elsewhere, yeah, this is pretty much an unrecognizable mess we got going here. We got the inline 3 engine, the freaking KF-VE, is it distorted? Dude, the engine's distorted. Oh my God, man. This thing has been squished up to the brim, folks. I think Toyota made ourselves a good-looking engine to the point where it's still recognizable, but it's been distorted to the point where it'll run rough and maybe a pain in the ass to rebuild and all that good stuff. So, final look. Yep, unrecognizable, just like what we got right here. So that'll do it with automation and BeamNG.drive with the Veil Lazuli Microvan. For the engine sound, it does sound fairly similar to automations and what I got using the Engine Sim program by AngeTheGreat. For the future, I plan on creating an inline twin engine, also known as an inline 2, which that'll take me some time for me to create, especially for someone who's new to coding and building an engine in that program. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you'll miss out on any videos like this in the future. And also, check out my social media down in the description below. So this is TRIZE rising up and signing out.